Creating passive income from commercial property is great. We all know that. But your cash flow, your underlying cash flow from the asset is based on your tenant. So therefore, picking your tenants in commercial property is one of the most important things you got to learn. You got to understand demographics, you got to understand technology, and you got to understand the attack from the big cat. Let's dive in this week. And the first one is really looking at demographics and technology and why demographics and technology have such a role to play in commercial property, the retail environment and the high street and whatnot. And really, as you know, technology, the Amazon has demolished the high street, but it's really a bigger thing that's going on. You know, we collectively are changing our spending habits. And banks aren't going out of fashion. As you see, 800 banks closed down. That's just RBS. Santander closing down a load, and it's the Clydesdale as well. What's actually happening is we are changing the way we spend money, and we're going cashless. And instead of the banks needing the big vaults downstairs to keep the cash, everybody's keeping the cash in their banks on a debit card, and therefore they don't need as much bricks. So they're going more so, going from bricks, the old establishment banks, to bricks and clicks. Same with William Hill. In April of this year, well, before I tell you about this, in September 2007, there was a massive legislation change that caused the demise of amusement arcades and gaming centres, snooker halls, pool halls, and the like. And legislation now and again really has dramatic impact on various sectors. Now, this April, and the bookies have been very, very good politically to keep kicking this can down the road for another 10 years. But this April, we'll see massive consolidation, closures in the bookmaking space, which gives you massive opportunity. It's an industry in disruption. And really what's happening in that industry is the big jackpot machines are going from £100 a bet down to £2 a bet. So if you imagine what that's going to do to their customer base, to their income, because 60% of their income is from these big high jackpot machines. Now, over the last 10 years, with the demise of the high street, the bookies have proliferated the high street. So that is now going to reverse. And being able to see into this and anticipate what the future brings means you can start packaging things together. Like a bank with what kind of tenancies, what kind of businesses are on the rise, packaging that up with banks, contacting bookmakers, finding out when their leases are coming to expire and working with them to potentially work with a motivated landlord, an inexperienced, uneducated landlord that has William Hill as a bookmakers might be a little bit motivated to extract themselves from a property that's coming to expiration very soon. Or these kind of bookmakers may even go through some form of insolvency, like CVA, administration, or pre-pack, like the large restaurant chains and retail chains have done recently. Something's going to happen because their income is going to be decimated. So all these bigger problems is due to, in a nutshell, legislation and technology. And the bigger thing is demographics, baby boomers and millennials. Now, let me touch on this. Baby boomers, they're the people that were born from 1946 to 1964. And in 2016, the first of them turned 70. So baby boomers' peak spending stopped or started on the decline in 2007. So you've got all this massive technology impact on the high street, but an even bigger impact is the fact that baby boomers are squirreling away their money and trying to save for retirement. Now, these have been, over the years, massive acquirers, and they're now going in to become massive sellers, which is why, commercial property tied with buying businesses is such a cool thing, because there are 479,000 businesses for sale in the UK right now, which is just mind-blowing. And a lot of them are baby boomers trying to retire. Now, the longer they leave it, the more businesses will be on the market. And a lot of these businesses are kind of businesses in decline, old school businesses. Like, the one I met last week, we're going into Leals next week, and it's an old school business that he's never put any money back into. His customers are dying off. and he just wants to extricate himself from this business, but it has an underlying commercial property. So this business was on the market with a business broker, national business broker, for offers over £550,000. This is 2 years ago. And 2 years ago, I offered him 150. I was very, I gave him the context around offering 150, and I told him he wouldn't take it. But I told him, if you still can't sell it in 2 years, I'll still be here with 150. He called me about a couple of weeks ago. We've now got a deal that I'm going to go into an option starting next week, and it's at £150,000. The option is when I secure a tenant, I'll buy it for 150, and the rent all day long is going to be in the range of 24 to 28. Now, 24 to 28, that's $250,000 on a bad day in terms of value, yeah? But in terms of the other thing, there's no money down because I can 100% finance that. I'm not going to finance it, but I could 100% finance that, and the finance would be roughly about £1,000 a month for capital and interest. And the rent's, worst case on a bad day, £2,000 a month. So it's kind of no money in. Even before no money in, I've got an option to go and secure a tenant before I buy. I've then got no money in. I've then got a cash flowing positive business that's kicking off a positive £1,000 a month after debt service is getting paid down. Now that's quite a cool deal. It's not the best deal, but it's still, a cool deal. You're going to get a free property at the end of the day, and you're going to get paid every month along the way. So that kind of thing, baby boomers, exiting their business is a really exciting area for me. Now, in terms of the millennial generation, so basically in a nutshell, baby boomers are reducing their spending. They're restricting their spending, and they're changing where they spend it. The millennial generation are not quite there yet to take up the slack in terms of that extra consumer spending because they've got higher student debt. In a nutshell, they don't have the salary as yet. So yes, there's now more millennials than baby boomers, but they don't have the income generation to ignite the economy. And that's why it's another factor why the death of the high street technology and this kind of macro demographic trend is really hurting the high street because there's not enough spending going on. And spending is the fire, the generator, for GDP. Yeah. So if moving on, so with all these things that's happening just now, what can we do about it? How can we, if our focus is on selection, selection of the right properties, the right businesses, and then the first thing you've got to look at is, what areas do you want to invest in? And the areas we want to invest in is obviously areas with very low vacancy. And the reason for that, so that's affluent areas. The reason for that is that if you buy something with a lease that's terminating very, very soon, there's motivation on the landlord side, and say that lease is terminating in a year, 2, 3 years, you want to make it easy on yourself to rent the thing again. And so you want to look at places that have got a low vacancy, and they're predominantly, to be honest, more affluent areas. You want to stay away from ghost towns, and how you do that in a real nutshell. I mean, this first picture is actually a gold plan of Nilesh's deal, and it's just outside of London. Now, the one thing you notice here on this gold plan is there's only one vacant unit, and it's the one next door. And when Nilesh bought this, it was actually under offer. It actually fell through, but at the end of the day, there's only one unit in this street that's actually vacant. Now, that's a great insight into if Nilesh's tenant ever, left the country or didn't want to renew the lease. He's done a great job extending the lease, actually, an amazing job. He's just got an acceptance to agree the increase or create a new lease. There was 18 months left on the lease, and he's just had agreement to create a new lease for 10 years, which is awesome. But if that lady didn't want to do that, with only one vacant unit there, he's not really in a stressful situation. He's always going to get a new tenant. So it's really key to stay in low vacancy areas, affluent areas. Yeah. And how you get these good maps, I've took a screenshot here.